they told the sales lady, "Can we have that cup?" And then before the sales lady could hand over the cup spoke. And the cup said, "You know what? You don't understand. I've not always been like this. There was a day I was just shapeless. I was mad. And I didn't have a form. Then my master took me. And then he patted me and patted me. And I was feeling pain. And I shouted to the master, 'Stop it.' And the master was just nodding his head, saying, 'Not yet time.' And then within a very short while, he put me in a spinning wheel. And it was spinning and spinning and spinning. And I was feeling dizzy. And I shouted to the master, 'Stop it, I'm feeling dizzy.' And the master was just nodding his head. And I was saying, 'Not yet.' And when I thought now that it's over, my master took me and placed me in an oven. And this time it was very hot. And I cried to my master, 'I'm getting burned, I'm getting finished.' And then the master was looking at the other side of the glass. And I could see him shaking his head. And it's like he was saying, 'It's not yet.' And then within a short time, the master opened the door, the oven door, and removed and placed me in a shelf. And I was, I've overcome that one. I didn't get finished. And he allowed me to cool. And when I was almost thinking that I've overcome that, my master came and took me and came with brush and paint. And he started painting me and painting me. And I told him, 'Stop it. The fumes are choking me.' And then the master was just nodding his head. And he was saying, 'Not yet, and not yet.' And then after a short time, he placed me back to the oven. And this time, it was 7 times hotter than the first one. And now I thought that I was completely finished. My master has decided to finish me. And I could see him just nodding at the door of the oven. And he was saying, 'It's not yet time. It's not yet.' But after a short while, my master came and removed me and placed me in a shelf. And he allowed me to cool. And this time, I was thinking, now what next? Because every time I think that I've overcome that, he come again with something else. And when he allowed me to cool, this time he came with a mirror. And he allowed me to look at myself. And I looked at myself. And I said, 'Beautiful. I'm looking beautiful.' And then the master told me, 'You know why I took you when you were just coming? Because if I didn't pat you, you would have dried up. And then that time when I placed you in the oven, you would have cracked. If I didn't place you there, you would have cracked. And I know, and I'm sorry, that the painting were choking you. But if I didn't paint you, you wouldn't be as beautiful as you are looking right now. And you know, when I placed you in that oven, I know the fire was very hot. But if I would not have placed you there, you would not have lasted this long.' And that story really inspired me, because it's a series and sequence of things we go through in life. And in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 18 and verse 3, he says that, I'll paraphrase, that I went to the potter's house and I saw the pot reshaping. So that story inspires me, because that is the story of my life, of how I was a young girl and the dreams that I had, but the various phases that I faced in life. And if you have read that book, you will see that I've referenced my book to a very beautiful substance, the butterfly. I don't know whether you love watching butterfly, but personally, if you sit somewhere where there is flowers and petals, you would admire watching them. It takes me back to school on the stages, metamorphosis, The only stages I remember is stages of a butterfly. I know metamorphosis was of a frog, of a butterfly. What else? Do you remember? There were several, but the only, I don't know even whether I'm mentioning the name right, but the only metamorphosis that never left my mind was the metamorphosis of a butterfly. And it has 4 stages. The first stage is egg. The second stage is larva. The third stage is pupa. And the fourth stage is now butterfly, an adult butterfly. So, because I would shortly share my story, I want to share just to be time sensitive, I want to share my story in those 4 stages, because even from the camp story, we have seen the stage for us to have such a beautiful camp. And now when I look at the butterfly, I see myself from a stage of an egg. You know, an egg is so minute that you cannot easily identify it. So Esther is born and raised in Nyandarua County from a very wonderful parent, and today I have some of them grace this occasion. I have my dad here, and my mom could not manage to come, and then I have my siblings. I'm a firstborn among 5 kids. Even if they are well-built, I'm the firstborn. And then there is my sister there, and unfortunately we lost one, so we are 5 of us. And I had dreams when I was growing up, but my egg stage, a stage where you cannot be seen or recognized, comes from where I come from. Those who are familiar with the stories, the politics, you know Nyandarua is the only place where Moi brought some polls, and when we didn't choose his candidate, he took them away. So it's a place that took long before, number 1, we get electricity. Number 2, up to date, our road has been launched the 4th time. So very poor infrastructure. But I was that girl with a dream to become something. So my upbringing, you can see from the screen the kind of photos. I was sharing that the photo there where I'm shaven was Christmas, and that was the best dress that we could get. So we came from a very humble background. There is an exposure that we didn't have. And I only came to understand of that exposure when we went to high school. And now the Nairobi girls will come with palmed hairs. And I had to touch again just to try and understand whether that is hair. Because the broad dye that we knew at home is a cap, a metallic cap. You use the nails, you put some holes, and then you put some charcoals burning. It grows hot. You use cooking oil a bit, you put on your head, then somebody has to come and pull it in. So you can imagine how long such hair will last. So going to high school made me see the very difference between our village and those girls that came from Nairobi. And then somehow I found myself like I'm having the second class of everything. So if they're carrying blue band, I'm having prestige. Sometimes if they are carrying sanitary towels, I'm having cotton wool. There are a lot of things that now the village set up. And now when, actually for the shoes, you know the butter shoes always look bigger. Now when I was in high school, I thought they are wearing oversized shoes. Because my Mutumba shoes, you know, they have to be well fitting. So I thought their butter shoes was a bit oversized. So that is my egg stage, coming from a place that was not well developed. But I know because of what God had for me, I didn't know that I'd be able to travel and meet faces and meet professionals. So I'm happy. And then the second stage, and this is the stage of a lover. This has now developed. But this part of development isn't lovely. I don't know whether you have seen a lava, it looks scary. You don't even want to touch it. So sometimes that is a stage that we go through, and that is what happened after I finished my high school. I went to college, I was pursuing CPA, and most of my friends here are accountants, so they know it was a hassle doing the course, and I did the course so well. I was a very devoted Christian, and so I wasn't dating at all. But come to the end of section 6, now had a very small job, and now the people we started CPA are now somehow working. They can dress a suit and something of the sort. So I got to meet somebody, and I know how the Bible guides, but in the book you will see that God also gave us the free will. He didn't take the free will from us, and it's in that midst of just starting dating that I found myself pregnant. And I knew my family, being the firstborn, they had high hopes of me. And here, I've just finished high school, and even before I've started working well, I have to start a family. I think I was around 22 years. And it was also a very difficult stage, because just as the story in the car, I asked God why. Because throughout my college life, I was very devoted. But for me, I've just started dating and I'm pregnant. And I knew some people who had been dating all the way from the time we started. So I was like that cat trying to ask God. We were with my friend there, Faith, at KCA. And so we were very devoted in the Christian Union. So I was wondering, why did God have to do this? And as a result, the person was a very good person, because he said, I'm giving you two choices. Either I help you when you're a child, you're still having the child, or we just get married. So at 22, I thought, becoming a single mom, that is not possible. So I chose the latter. And when I chose the latter, I know how I communicated to my parents wasn't very good. Because what I did, I just wrote a text and then switched off the phone. And I understand there were a lot of pressure from that. What I want to do is, I started another phase of life that I didn't understand. I was not so well exposed, and now I'm here in a marriage that we had not planned for, with expecting a child and all that. And things happened, hassles happened, and then that marriage wasn't working. And then also the second baby comes in. And the lava stage is a stage that is, you cannot relate it, you cannot even explain it to somebody. You have to go through that process alone. And I went through a lot of things in that transformation. I don't want to say everything so that you read the book. And so I want to go to the third stage, and this is the stage of pupa. You know, the stage of pupa is a stage where it's trying to develop into a full-grown adult. And normally, the pupa hangs below the leaves. It just hangs. It's a place of isolation. It's a place where you just hide yourself. And now I'm a single mom of 2 children, and I'm trying to maneuver in my careers, and a lot is happening. And then I took my time, like around almost 5 years. And you know, as a person of faith, I'm a person of faith, I prayed. I think my pastor is here, and sometimes there are some declarations that are made in church, year of divine favor. You grab that and you know God is doing something this year. And sometimes when you're a young girl, your prospect, you have a job, now you have babies. When you are claiming things, what do you think I was claiming? It's marriage, it's a husband. And so many years have passed. So it reached a point where, like, I'm giving God condition, you know? I want to be married at this age. I know most of these girls do this all the time. I want to, by 30, I have finished giving birth. And so it's like I had my own plan and my own willpower of how I want things to go. And I don't know whether it's Satan equally listen to such prayers, because sometimes it can be a trap. Until you listen carefully to what God is telling you. And I equally found somebody, and this time I had prayed. I know God is in this. I'm now in my 30s. I also know what I want. And so we dated, and we planned to have a nice family. But no sooner had we had planned of that family, we had planned of going home, we had seen our pastor, we had done a lot. I think it's like a shell just fell from my eyes. And I saw like I'm heading myself to a very big dip of a pit. And this time, I could not relate where I'm headed because I'm no longer young. And just like that cup, I was telling God, now stop it, because I'm wondering, all this that I'm going through, why can't you take it to somebody else? And sorry to say, I even had friends who are even trusting God with children. And I was wondering, God, for me, I wanted marriage, and now it seems you're giving me children. So we were somehow quarreling with God. And it was a very depressing time for me, but it was also a transforming life for me, because it is that moment that I found my purpose. I went through that stage, almost going through depression, because I could not share that story with somebody, because that is the free will that we have been given. It's not something you can say, God, you brought it to me. I brought it to myself. And as soon as I overcame that, it's like God was shaping my life. I was able to see other single women who make sometimes bad decisions, or other women who have gone through stuff. Some from their own action, and others are not through their own doing. But all the same, we are still in the hands of the potter. And every time he's reshaping us and reshaping us. So that was the first, I would say, my wake-up call. When that happened, I was able now to have a very closer walk with God. And as a result, I was able to relate with other women who have gone through such stage. And then, because during that time, we were trying to build a home with this man, and it didn't work. And I had a brother who was an engineer, and who saw that the vision should not die. So he told me, with the money you are planning to, can we do a home? And it's like he orchestrated this whole thing. And then we started. He would just give me the steps. We want to do foundation, then I look for money, we do foundation, we go the next stage. He worked with me. He was a very close friend of mine. And when we had not completed that house, in 2020, we lost him. And how we lost him, it was so sad. Because even personally, I had left Kisumu that evening to go to Nairobi, just to try and get the correct medication for him. And it's that very night that we lost him. But the transformation in that was how I was presented to life. That we're in this world for a very short time. And this life is not on our own, because the owner of the life does not tell you when or how. And I saw my brother die without anything. Like, if he had his phone, he just had you his phone. And then if he had a wallet, he would hand you the wallet. And before you know it, all those things becomes meaningless. Even if you tell him, can you have your phone, he doesn't want it. And I realized sometimes we grab things in this world, but eventually we don't need them. And suppose we can share the ritual that we have, just to try and touch lives and just try and help one another. So that was a very also transforming phase for me. I tried to see life also in another dimension. And from there, God gave me that purpose, like just to try to do better and be a blessing to many. And that now takes me to my stage 4. Now we have evolved from the pupa, and my stage 4 is now when God is handing me over the cup. And now you see yourself different. You don't see yourself now as a single mom. You see yourself as a wonderful mom of lovely kids. You see yourself as a daughter who is fearfully and wonderfully made. So I adore my family so much. And even in the process of that single parenting, because I got married when I just had the CPA, like God has helped me. I was able to advance even in my careers. I was able to do several courses. And for that, it helps me pull a lady or a young girl who cannot even pay school fees. I wish I was able to pay for this dinner for them to attend. Some of the beneficiaries are Tunza Dada. And you know, they don't need much, because most of them, they just need 5,000 in these public secondary schools. But you find some of them cannot afford. And I'm so grateful because in our midst here, I have wonderful friends who help me. From their salary, they just tell me that, Esther, you are doing a good job. And that is actually what we work with. We go to schools, we encourage them. Actually, when you visit these schools, you find there are a lot of teenage moms there, and you want to help them that it's not the end of life. And I don't know whether it's my single parenting journey that helped me relate with them so well. Even when I go to a school, I find myself, when we are talking with the teacher of guidance and counseling, telling me that we have a lot of young girls here who are pregnant. Some are being chased away by their parents. And because of the journey that I've gone through, I'm able to relate with them. I'm able to encourage them. I'm able to work with them. I'm happy. One just called, I think when they were admitting that, Mom, I got admitted at Maseno. I'm now doing nursing. After getting pregnant, almost close to the exam, but encouraging her to go back to school and sitting for exam and even passing to get a direct entry to the... So the book of A Life Gracefully Reshaped is just a book, a story. I know it's not very perfect, but it's through my life that I was able to look back and say, all this time, when God was parting me, when God was pinning me, when God was passing me through the fire, it wasn't just for myself. It wasn't for a community. It's for encouraging somebody else. And I'm glad that today you came and joined me to celebrate with me. I celebrate the milestone. I told God that I want to do this in Kenya and even abroad. Personally, I want to visit all the continents because I believe of what God can do. And I want to meet also even the single parents. I already have a group in Canada, and they were like, can you come and talk to this? I'm here to encourage you that God has a very good plan for you. And I'm here to tell you, don't waste your pain. And I'm here to tell you, don't shy away from sharing your story. You didn't go through that process for yourself. You went through that process just to try and pick somebody who is behind, who is there and wondering whether they will make it. So, we may all not write books, but in that area that you have struggled, is it looking for a job? Is it in business? Is it in marriage? Is it in children? That in that area, can you just listen to your pain? And when you listen to your pain, you find the purpose. And God will transform that purpose to a very beautiful thing. And even now, I wish I had the privilege. I'm in a very nice relationship, and I'm not shying off to say that, because I don't want you to live here saying, Moishe, sasa, huyo mwingine next, iko aje. No, I'm here to say that God can gracefully reshape your story. And when he reshaped that, it's not for you to go and it's for his own glory. So I'm so grateful that you joined me here today. I have my family, I have my children, I have friends, I have colleagues, and I'm so happy. And may God bless you all.
Amen. You know, writing your story is another thing, and telling your story is another thing. Because you can write, you can pen it down, but telling it. Let us celebrate this wonderful woman, CEO, founder, Tunza Dada Foundation, author. Put your hands together for Esther one more time. Amen. Esther's pastor is here. We just want to kill two birds with one stone very quickly because our time is much spent and there are certain things in the program that we want to do. Now I am talking as a master of ceremony and I'm not using executive powers, so that we can balance our time. Are we together? So I'm going to ask Pastor Francis, Senior Pastor JCC Mangoleo, to come and pray with this wonderful lady as the cake people are bringing the cake. We are going to kill two birds with one stone. Once Pastor has prayed, maybe he can say one word in a minute, and then we will pray. Once we have prayed, we will cut the cake, and then we will do those, Madam Eunice, we can do that raffle thing, and then we have dinner, and because I want people to have enough time to network with the author, interact with the author, because she's the agenda. Are we together? So Pastor Francis, kindly, karibu sana.
Good evening. This is Pastor Francis. A simple correction, my brother. I'm not the senior pastor in JCC Mangole. I'm an associate. I've been an associate pastor for the last 18 years. But I love it. Amen. This book that we are launching today is a powerful book. The day I held it and I began reading it, it changed some perspectives in my life concerning single mothers. I'm now looking at them in a different, or from a different perspective. When I got this book, I know Esther knows about what I'm going to say. I introduced this book where I was preaching. I was preaching in the lunch I was in Kisumu town. Some people reached out to me because they saw the book with me, and I connected them to my sister Esther. Another person came into my office and found me reading this book. I know now Esther has somebody that she's counseling in Nairobi just because of this book. Ladies, how bold are you? Talk about your life. Live above your age. Please talk to your neighbor, the lady neighbor. We get to your profile in the Facebook, your age is not there. Yeah, but Esther is laying herself bare like a nut that is broken for that sweet aroma. This is the time we are coming unto you. You can still stand with her. You can still reach out so that Tunza Dada may move on, so that this book can also reach out to other people and help them. Esther, I know this is the first book, but it should not be the last. Please bring more. Bring more. I know the process that you're going through, the Christ services, is a very powerful process that you're taking. And remember, that process is a permanent transformation. I've never seen anything that moves from the egg goes back to be the egg again. May God give each and every one of us here the ability to overcome our past. Look at that paper. very ugly, not pleasing, and dangerous. But when it goes through, everybody will want to put their fingers up so that a butterfly can perch on it and they celebrate. There is a risk before you may emerge a winner or a victorious person. I would request each and everyone to be upstanding right now. I was in Mombasa there yesterday and I remembered this, so I had to come and just stand with Esther on this powerful day. Esther, may God give you grace in your new found relationship. I request the family of Esther to just move towards us here so that we can pray. You are also part of this book, so when we are praying, you need us to be here. My young man.
Pastor, anybody else probably was asked Esther to be able to pray? You need Pastor to get people that will come here and just raise their hand, Pastor will pray with you. You also have a similar story, and you're not at the place where Esther is. You need God to give you grace just to overcome. God is here and He's going to help you.
My name is Indra. Thank you, Mom. I'm the cousin to the pattern with children. Thank you, Mom.
My name is David. I'm here to see the launch of Esther's book. I've gone through the book and some of the key things that I like about the book is the resilience which Esther has gone through since her youthful age until now. It shows that we as human beings, we can be tested with a lot of things that we are. But if we put more effort, trust in God, and then God will lift up us up to a point where we can see the seed or the result of that grace. And it is a true testimonial of what I've seen in Esther's book. Hard work, believing in God, and the power is of
I'm so grateful for this day. I'm happy to be here. Esther is a very good friend of mine. So when I heard about the launch, I said I must begin. So I'm expecting to see a lot, and also I'm expecting to know all about the book and my grace relationship. And once again, Esther Waweru, congratulations, my sister. Thank you.